Folks, we often use the word brain trust at CBS Radio World Headquarters in Green Tree. Maybe too much, but in this case, it's a fact, a cold hard fact. Everything that is 93.7 The Fan, it is Joe Kopp. He is the executive producer. He's the guy that gets you started with the morning show and then, of course, takes you right through the evening. And he's here late on a Friday because it's all about the Steelers, and now they're moving it to 8:20 on Sunday night. But we do want to give a shout-out to Greg Giannotti, my man in New York City, one of the most talented young men ever. I wish you nothing but the best in the Big Apple. Now, Joe, Steelers, Ice Storm, we're going to get to that in a moment. But let's begin with Seattle and Atlanta. Everyone's talking about what Matt Ryan has done, the matchup Julio Jones and Richard Sherman. How do you see that game at the Georgia Dome playing out?
Well, this is one of the ones that's hard to pick because Seattle's been there before. Atlanta has had its struggles in the playoffs, but Matt Ryan's having an unbelievable year. Some people are even saying he should be the MVP. I'm not saying that that's probably not wrong. I think I would probably vote for him if I had a vote.
Wow.
I mean, let's face it, he's getting Kyle Shanahan interviews for head coaching positions because of what he's done with that offense. So I like the Falcons at home. I think they're going to be hard to beat at home. But then again, Seattle has been there before, so this should be an interesting game.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, they finished the season on a roll at 4-0, and they just have continued to step it up. And Russell Wilson continues to show everyone that he is not a fluke, and the kid out of Wisconsin continues, I believe, to get better with each and every year. Now, we have got up next the Houston Texans at New England. Bill O'Brien, former Penn State coach, former coordinator at New England, knows how tough they can be at Gillette Stadium. They have never beaten them there. They've only beaten New England once, meaning Houston, and earlier this year they were thrashed 27-0. Even without Rob Gronkowski, I can understand why New England is a 15.5-point favorite in this football game.
Well, to go back to that 27-0 shellacking that you're talking about,
right,
that was done with Jacoby Brissett and not Tom Brady. So if you were to tell me you could give me 35 points in this one, and I would still take New England. I don't think Houston has any chance.
Even though their defense is that good and Clowney kind of leads the way, why is it so hard to get to Tom Brady? Because if you look at him physically, it should be easy. I mean, to blitz this guy and get to him. And you think about quick releases. You think about guys like your man, John Elway, Danny Marino, Terry Bradshaw, of course, Ben Roethlisberger. But how has Tom Brady, just year after year, inching ever so closely to his 40th birthday, been able to be upright and get rid of that football?
He's got such a quick release. And one of the things going into last year's AFC Championship game against Denver, they said, you got to get there in 2.5 seconds. And Von Miller said, I can get there in 2. And he did.
He did.
And it's what it came down to. If he doesn't get there in the 2 seconds that he said, then Denver doesn't win that game. Because if he has time to throw the football, he's got all those guys underneath, and Edelman and Amendola and all these guys. He's always going to find the open guy. He gets rid of the ball quick. They have plays set up for him to be able to get rid of the ball quick. They're just a machine on offense. They really are. And then this year, they're even better because their offensive line's actually protecting him. So you saw when they played Denver a few weeks ago, Vaughn couldn't get to him this time. It's because they got better on the ends, and they were able to stop that pass rush. So as good as the Texans' defense is, I don't think they could get to him, and that's the key to beating him. You saw what the game plan was with Denver last year. You have to be able to get pressure. You may not have to sack him every time, but you have to get him off his game. You have to get him uncomfortable. Otherwise, he's just machine down the field.
I've known him, folks, for about 15 years. And all these years we used to sit. When the Pirates were playing, he would be doing the producing thing, and I would just pick his brain. And I've got a career out of it, thanks to Joe Kopp. Not done with him yet. By the way, it will be on Saturday. You've got the first game's going to be on Fox, and then CBS, the second game, Houston and New England. And now coming up Sunday, it's been switched around a little bit. We told you about the Steelers. We'll get to that in a moment. That game's going to be Sunday night at 8:20 now on NBC. But the first game is at 4:40. It will be on Fox, and I can't wait to see this game. You've got Aaron Rodgers, who beat the Steelers at AT&T Stadium in the Super Bowl following the 2010 season. The guy has been incredible. Last 7 games, 18 touchdowns, Hail Marys, slant patterns, you name it. She can dink and dunk. The guy can do anything. He is a future Hall of Famer, and everyone knows that this guy can destroy your secondary. But you've got a guy who was a 4th-round pick out of the draft, who is as cool as they come, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, over 1,600 yards this year rushing the football, and Dez Bryant. It just seems to me there are too many tools for Dallas to lose this football
What's
game.
the weakness for Green Bay? Their defense, their secondary, their ability to stop the run. Aaron Rodgers is coming in probably hotter than anybody. Probably, maybe even hotter than Pittsburgh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 2 hottest things going in the playoffs right now. The Steelers, in general, winning 8 in a row, and what Aaron Rodgers has done since he said, we're going to win them all. We're going to win out. But how do they stop that Dallas offense, especially in the Jerry Dome? That's going to be
hard.
What I think is going to be hard. I think it's going to be a great game. Don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be...
Is Rodgers good enough to carry the whole team on his back? Is he that good?
I think if he had Jordy Nelson healthy, yes.
Yeah, and he's out, by the way. I said that earlier.
I think with Jordy Nelson healthy, yes. But without having him, I mean, he still has Cobb, he still has other receivers to go to, but without having a running game, the running game has been up and down all year. Mm-hmm. And right now it's down. And without having Jordy there, I think that's a big loss for him. So it's hard to say no because he's done it so many times before, but I think Dallas is going to be hard to stop.
All right, you got some new coaches out there. McVay in Los Angeles, 30 years of age, and you have former offense coordinator of Washington, Sean McDermott, former defensive...
Rob, put that in perspective. 30 years old. That means he's only 5 years older than Aaron Donald. 5 years older as a head coach than Aaron Donald.
Who, by the way, was the Pitt grad who's out there playing football.
That's amazing.
It is.
30-year-old head coach.
Yeah, he's comes from some good DNA, though, you know. So his family been in the football game a long time. And then you've got Sean McDermott, Buffalo, former Carolina Panthers defensive coordinator, and his guy, Vance Joseph, who we both like a lot, former defensive coordinator, Miami, who is now the main guy in Denver. So let's begin with your Broncos. Why do you like Vance Joseph and what John Elway did?
He's a winner. He's a winner. He knows he's coming to an organization that wants to win and wants to win now. And with that defense especially that they have. But the problem is they've struggled with 2 young quarterbacks. But the thing that Elway kept preaching, he's a leader of men. And as a head coach, that's what you want. You're going to rely on your coordinators to do the day-to-day operation of the offense and the defense. Mm-hmm. But the head coach has to make sure that the players are ready to play every day and they're ready to carry on what is expected of them in Denver, and that's to be in position to win championships every year. And that's what I like about it.
Listen, Denver's your team. It's always been your team, and I have respect for you because of that. Through thick and thin, you stay with them. Yeah. Where are they right now? How much are they going to miss Kubiak for a while, you think?
Joseph's actually part of the Kubiak coaching tree, so I think they coached together in Houston.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, when Kubiak was there, Joseph was coaching defensive backs for him. So,
and that's where he made his name, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's come through and made a coordinator position for himself in Miami, and you know, other than the record-setting performance he gave up to Le'Veon Bell, you know, he had a pretty good thing going there for a while in Miami, but they're going to miss Kubiak. I mean, Kubiak was a guy that obviously came in and picked up where John Fox couldn't and took him to and won the Super Bowl in his first year there. But, you know, there's good people in place, including Elway. I mean, it starts with him. I mean, to think about what he's been able to do. He's able to bring in Mike McCoy today to get the offensive coordinator, so Mike McCoy's back. And then Bill Musgrave, who was let go by the Raiders, is now going to come in as the quarterbacks coach to help these 2 young quarterbacks. So, I think you're going to see they're going to pick up kind of like right where they left off. Not this past year, but into that Super
Here's
Bowl.
what's amazing to me, and you know baseball better than anyone. Usually great managers were not great major league players.
Right.
And the same really holds true for football. But, I mean, John Elway was a great player, Hall of Fame. What's made him such a great front office guy? How's he been able to make that transition? Usually when you have that God-given talent, you expect the rest of the team to just do what you did. But he's just found a way to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and he's already got a Super Bowl.
Well, I think he had the ability of being a great athlete, but is also as his dad being a coach.
Right, yeah, Stanford.
Growing up with his dad, being around that all the time, he saw how a team is built. He saw how to operate a team, what you need, what kind of leadership you have to have, what kind of players. And he just, I don't know, he just knows what he wants, and what he's looking for, and he's been a great judge of characters. I mean, when they got to the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 48, it got demolished by Seattle when they had that record-setting offense. He knew that he had to dismantle that team and build it up with defense, and 2 years later he goes back to the Super Bowl and wins.
Miami last week.
Kansas City's now moved ahead as a 1.5 favorite.
There you have it, folks. You heard it here first. Kansas City a favored by $1.50, and maybe the weather has something to do with that. Late start again, 8:20. Steelers 18-point win in that frigid weather at Heinz Field against Miami. Andy Reid talking about that delayed start before he gets to the line of scrimmage seems to work for Le'Veon Bell, 167 yards. Last week, earlier this year, 144 against Kansas City. But it comes down to Big Ben and Antonio Brown, and hopefully the Steelers' defense can keep them close. Your thoughts?
I think if they can get the ball going in Bell's hands, they can get over 150 yards, they win the game. If they struggle to run the ball and the defense gives up big plays on the other side, I like Kansas City at home because that place is one of the hardest places to win a football game.
In closing, when you have to agree, I'm a big Joey Porter fan. He always played full throttle. He's got to be a plus as far as motivation having him back with the coaching staff.
Yeah, it's been an interesting week, to say the least. I mean, you could say that at the beginning of the week he's a distraction. I don't know. Could it give him some kind of extra inspiration now that he's back? I don't know. But I think if you can't get fired up for a playoff game without Joey Porter, something's wrong with it.
All right, give me the final score of that game.
And the Chiefs game?
Come on.
Steelers, I'm going to say 24-21 Kansas City. I'm
going to give you the final minute or so to talk about where you make your bread and butter. 93.7 The Fan. What are you doing this weekend?
This weekend, as far as the station goes,
yeah.
We're just covering football, man. We got Pitt basketball tomorrow, of course.
Miami.
Yep, and then we got the divisional playoffs all weekend, and then big Steeler pregame coming up 5 to 8 on Sunday, leading into the game now because it's 8:20 start, like you said. So it's all about football this weekend.
93.7 The Fan, as I am a him. Joe Kopp, have a great weekend, and I'll be back here shortly at 5 a.m. I know you just can't wait.